So have you heard? The Bunwood Park Zoo will be reopening. We're reopening to members starting Saturday, May 30th and Sunday, May 31st. And then we're going to be open to general admissions starting Wednesday, June 3rd. During our first phase of reopening, we're going to be closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, but we are still going to be open Wednesday through Sunday every week. Now, when you come to the zoo, it is going to be a little bit different. We have put some measures in place based on state guidelines and local guidelines that's going to make it a little bit different coming to the zoo. One of the biggest differences is that you're not going to be able to buy tickets when you first come to the zoo. You're going to have to purchase your tickets, and this includes members, online before you get to the zoo. And to talk to you about that process, the zoo's curator of education, Carrie Hawthorne, is going to give you some insight on how that process will work.
Thanks, Keith. As part of our reopening, we will be limiting the number of guests who come on site as part of the state guidelines to help with social distancing. You're going to want to head to our website, bpzoo.org, whether you're a member or not, to purchase your tickets online for a timed entry. You will pick your time, and you can have up to 6 tickets per visit. Once you arrive at the zoo, you'll have your printed out tickets, and we'll go ahead and scan them right here at the front desk. If you can't print them out, don't worry, we are able to scan them from your mobile device.
Although the zoo is reopened, there are going to be some differences to your experience when you come to the zoo. One of the first things that are going to be required per state guidelines is that everyone coming to the zoo over the age of 2 is going to be required to have a facial covering. This is not only to keep the staff here at the zoo safe, visitors here at the zoo safe, but also, believe it or not, some of the animals here at the zoo that may be susceptible to corona-type viruses. When you come to the zoo, the biggest thing we're going to be pushing is that you have social distancing. And we have a unique way of doing that here at the Bunwood Park Zoo. We are asking everybody to keep a bald eagle's wingspan away from each other. So when you come to the zoo and you're here with your family and you see another family, we want you to think bald eagle's wingspan at least 6 feet from other families that are attending the zoo. One of the practices we put in place per state guidelines is that we have to have one-way traffic throughout the entire zoo. We've reconfigured our pathways, put up some extra barriers that allow people to flow through the zoo in the same direction. The way you're going to do this is when you come into the zoo, you're going to see these arrows painted on zoo grounds. This is going to provide you guidance on which way the traffic will be flowing throughout the entire zoo. Although the zoo is reopening, there are some significant changes, and this includes the fact that per state guidelines, 1, we cannot have any buildings open. So this includes our wonderfully popular Rainforest Rivers and Reefs building, our Wildlife Education Center. At this time, we cannot open these buildings. Other things that are not going to be open during your visit include our train and carousel and our nature play area, which is considered a playground. Now, we hope later this summer, as we go through the various phases, we're going to be able to open them, but right now we do have to remain closed in those particular areas.
All of the indoor areas of the zoo will be closed per state guidelines. However, there will be bathrooms available for you in the Wildlife Education Center. Also, you will find throughout the zoo Purell stations for you to clean your hands.
I am happy to announce that during our reopening, we actually are still going to be able to provide food service and have our gift store partially open. With regard to food service, we cannot have indoor dining. We actually can't even have outdoor tables for at least the next couple of weeks. But our dedicated staff at the Bear's Den Cafe is going to be creating some great items that you can actually purchase through a credit card, no cash. There's going to be contactless systems, but you can get some great bites of food that you can take around your visit to the zoo. With regard to the gift store, we're still not allowed to let guests go into buildings, but we will have an outdoor table that allows you to see and purchase some of our favorite items from our gift store. We hope to have our gift store open in the coming weeks, but right now we can only have outdoor retail options, and we're going to be doing that during our first phase of reopening.
We have installed throughout the zoo these social distancing markers at all of the exhibits. This way you can really tell what 6 feet apart will be for you and your family. We ask that you stay patient. If you come up to an exhibit and all of the spots are taken, just wait a second and your turn will be next.
Some of the other changes that we are making to the zoo is we're trying to reduce or eliminate those points of the zoo that have high touch frequency from guests. This includes we will not have vending machines available, our ATM machines will be available, some of our interactive signs will be closed, and in some of the exhibits that have glass and metal framing, we have put additional barriers up. These additional barriers are to discourage people from constantly touching areas around the zoo so that we can eliminate those high touch points throughout our entire campus. In addition to the practices we put in place for guests and for staff and volunteers at the zoo, we've actually had to put some practices in place for our animals. A lot of people don't realize that there are some animals at the zoo that are potentially susceptible to coronaviruses. This includes our cats, small carnivore species like our otters and red pandas, and some of our primates. We have either put in extra boundaries to keep people further back from our animals, or we've put in plexiglass barriers. It's a little bit of inconvenience, but truthfully we want to make sure that all of our animals stay safe, like our cougars who are in this habitat. You will still be able to see the animals, you're just going to be back a little bit further than you normally would in historic visits to the zoo. Some of the other changes we've made at the zoo are going to be a pleasant surprise for some of our guests. Because of our one-way pathway requirements, we have actually opened up our elephant habitat, and now you're going to be able to go basically 270 degrees around our elephant exhibit, and there's going to be more opportunities to see our elephants. We're also going to be able to do elephant keeper talks here at the exhibit. Now there are some areas in the zoo we're not going to be able to do keeper talks because of social distancing requirements, but here in a new animal ambassador area that we are creating in another part of the zoo, we're still going to be able to do robust keeper talks. So not only do you get to meet our animals, but you get to learn more about these animals and their conservation in the wild. So when you come to the end of your visit, it actually doesn't have to be the end of your visit. We do have arrows around the zoo that allow you to re-enter. Now you're going to have to maintain your one-way traffic pattern throughout the zoo, but you are able to go around the zoo more than once. The Buttonwood Park Zoo has been open for 126 years, but truthfully when you come to the zoo this time, it is going to be a little bit different. We guarantee that it's still going to be fun, it's still going to be educational, and we really think your family is going to really enjoy their visit to the zoo. But we have put a lot of practices in place for socially distanced, not only between guests and the other guests, but guests and the staff and the volunteers of the zoo, and even the guests and the animals. We're very excited to welcome everyone back, but I also want to take a moment to thank the Buttonwood Park Zoological Society. The Buttonwood Park Zoological Society supports the programs of the Buttonwood Park Zoo, and although we get amazing support from the City of New Bedford, we also get great support from Buttonwood Park Zoological Society. In this time of need, truthfully, we need all the help that can be provided to the Buttonwood Park Zoological Society. There are a variety of ways you can donate to the Zoological Society online and during your visit to the zoo. So we do ask you to think about help and support the great programs of the Society that help support our animal care, our animal welfare, our veterinary programs, and all the great education and conservation programs that we are involved with. We are very excited to have everyone back. We're looking forward to everyone coming in. We ask that you are patient and work with us to make this the best experience possible. We are going to be learning as you are because we've never been through a pandemic before, but we are very excited to welcome everyone back.